Hello everyone, welcome to another Transformers video. I'm Metagross Freak, and today we're going to be looking at Transformers Titans Return Broadside with Blunderbuss. Now, for those of you who are unfamiliar with the terms, broadside is a nautical term referring to having all of your cannons on one side of a ship. Doesn't matter whether it's the left or the right, aka it doesn't matter if it's port or starboard. If all of your cannons are on one side, you're firing on the broadside. And his Titan Master, a blunderbuss, is a reference to the firearm called a blunderbuss. For those of you who are familiar with a flintlock and how it is essentially a black powder pistol, the blunderbuss is essentially the black powder equivalent of a shotgun. This is actually a fairly nice figure that I've been considering getting for a while. However, in my area, it's kind of a shelf warmer. For those of you who are unfamiliar with the term shelf warmer, a shelf warmer is a figure that is basically just taking up room on the shelves. It's not a very popular figure, and they have trouble moving stock. Pretty much in every store I look at has either this figure or Titans Return Voyager Megatron. I've decided against getting a Megatron because I find the Last Night Voyager Megatron to be a far superior figure. But here we have Broadside in his three different modes. As you can see, he has his robot mode, which is actually fairly accurate to his Gen 1 figure, because he has the same three modes, and he actually looks a lot like his Gen 1 counterpart in the original Gen 1 comics. And his alt modes are a aircraft carrier and a kind of a futuristic jet. I'll admit before I even open this box that the jet mode is the weakest mode of the three. You'll see why when I get there. Here is Broadside in his robot mode, and he's a very nice figure. I can tell you that I had to do a bit of fiddling just because he has a lot of little individual parts that move, but that's actually really nice because that means you can customize your figure to how you want to display him. For accessories, he comes with this transparent clear gun that's actually fairly common in the various different Titans Return figures. It can sit a Titan Master in this little open cockpit. It comes in a variety of different figures. Megatron. It comes with Blitzwing. It comes with Optimus. It comes with Octane. So basically, if you get a Voyager class Titans Return figure, you're going to get this gun, but in different colors. Canonically, both on the packaging and in the instructions and on the card, it shows the blaster being held in his right hand. That's fine. I don't get why all Transformers are right-handed. And like I mentioned before, he does have a card. The card features the same artwork on the packaging, but it's actually just a little clearer. Again, sorry for my fuzzy camera. But you can see that's actually a really nice artwork of Blunderbuss plugging in to Broadside. And in case you're interested about the stats, considering that he is a Voyager class, I'm actually surprised at the stats that we have here. We have physical strength at 6, speed at 9, I'm assuming that's supposed to be intelligence or strategic thinking at 7, and firepower at 6. These aren't bad, but they're not what I thought they would be. And then with Blunderbuss, he gains the bonuses of +5 strength, which is, almost double, +2 speed, which, shouldn't be that big of a surprise, +2 intelligence / strategic thinking, and then +4 fire blast. So that's kind of a cool, it's a cool upgrade. Mostly, though, he's getting a big strength boost. I like this card. I like it. The Titans Return comes with cards. He comes with a third accessory, which is actually a little sprue of planes. And you can argue that they're maybe just jet fighters, but if you actually look carefully enough at the molding, I'm going to see if I can get it to focus. If you look at the molding, they actually are supposed to be molds of the aerial bots. So, there's a little air raid in here. I don't know which one is air raid. I'm assuming it's that one. right here. But that's really cool. That's really cool. I knew that was going to come in it, but I didn't think they'd look that nice considering the detail I saw online. So Broadside has a fair amount of posability and customization for his figure. He does have a swivel in the upper arms, which is pretty nice, though depending on how you have these wings arranged, you may end up clipping against his torso. But he does have a swivel. He does have another swivel, so he can bring his arms out all the way. That's actually relatively nice. Upper arm swivel, elbow joint, and he does have a little bit of fist swivel, though, like Soundwave from Titan's Return, that's mostly for the transformation. Not bad, though. I like that. He does have articulation in the wings. They can... Yeah, he's shown with the wings down. You can, however, tilt them to the side if that's more your thing, for like a winged jetpack flight mode. And because of the hinges, you can also tilt them back if you want. I kind of like the look of that. It makes him look very jetpacky. His jet front is on a hinge. It's the same hinge that basically the deck for his ship is on. Ta-da! There's a vehicle mode. Also, on the shoulders, as you can probably tell, he has these bits sitting up here. Those can flip up. I actually kind of like the look of the shoulders with these flipped up. It's, it helps reduce some of that robot mode kibble, that vehicle mode kibble, and I honestly think it looks pretty cool. It gives him these big, bulky shoulders, and I kind of like that. Waist articulation is non-existent because of the transformation. However, he does have a ball joint and a upper thigh swivel for the legs. Knees bend at 90 degrees exactly, well, give or take. And then the ankle and foot is on a double hinge. So you can surprisingly get his feet to point straight down, though that's for the transformation, as well as get the feet to point back, which is very rare for any Transformer. You can get a variety of different poses. You can stick his toes pretty much straight out. You can bring them like that. You can bring them back, whichever you feel will best support his weight, because he is fairly top heavy. I like having the feet swiveled, going swiveled back like this to help distribute the weight more. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. I like his vehicle mode. Sorry, it's not his vehicle mode. I like his robot mode. It's a very nice robot mode, and in my opinion, the robot mode is the most important mode of any Transformer. So, considering I like it, this was definitely a worthwhile buy for me. It's going to look great on my shelf next to my other Autobots. He does feature a swivel in the head with these pylons. However, if you push the pylons down, his head is on a ball joint. You can get a little wiggly-waggly swivel there. You can actually turn his head completely around because of the Titan Master neck. However, doing that, it does technically lock the neck piece in place there. If you want to punch the pylons back up, you just have to press the button here on his lower abdomen to push those pylons up and get back to that big swivel. We'll look at the Titan Master in a little bit. The cockpit right here on his torso does not open. However, the cockpit on his plane half does. Let's see if I can get this open. I can. There we go. There we go. And that'll fit a Titan Master. For comparison to two recent Voyagers I have compared, here he is next to the Last Knight Megatron. As you can see, they're roughly about the same size. Megatron is slightly taller. Though that's to be expected, considering Megatron is a pretty beefy Voyager. And then also for comparison, here is the Last Knight Voyager, Optimus Prime. And again, Optimus Prime is a little bit taller, though he does have the big heroic helmet. And, this is the movie line. And they kind of had to make him a little compact because he is a triple changer. They had to, height was not a priority for them. I really like the look of this figure, though. Other little things for customization. By the way, in case this is your figure after all. If you have this figure, you can do with it what you want. I like having the shoulder bits up. You can also put the antenna for the ship mode up if you want. Though that does look a little weird if you're out of ship mode. But you can have that up if you want. It's just a little bit of kibble that can fold away. In addition to the wings, you can do all kinds of things with the wings. I like having them tucked back like that. It's kind of cool, in my opinion. There also are these fins on the legs. Now, the picture on the box and the card show them at being like these weird angles. So he has these, for lack of a better word, knee spikes. I'm not a big fan of that. What I think looks a little bit better is either to have these fins out to the side, and then either to leave these fins out or to tuck them. You can try tucking them in, but that looks awkward. Or if you're willing to stress the joint a little bit, you can tuck them like that. That helps reduce kind of the amount they stick out. As you've probably been seeing with this, his joints and his angles are a little weak. I wish they supported his weight a little bit better. But I think they'll be fine, assuming I pose him in a way that doesn't result in him flopping over. But yeah, his ankles, because they're on that double joint, while they are good at helping distribute the weight, do have a little bit of weakness. Also, you have these panels on the side which are supposed to flip down, but if you want, you can flip them up for a little bit of extra leg armor if you want to go for that more, classic, 1980s, boxy Gen 1 look. They are also on double hinges, so keep that in mind, because that'll give him a little bit more of a boxy look, but you also lose kind of some of that knee articulation. Here we have Broadside in his aircraft carrier mode. Well, sort of. He's almost done. This is basically the majority of it, but it isn't really complete. There is an arm bit that it shows in the instructions. It flips up to form a tower, and again, that little satellite array I mentioned before. However, for storage, you're going to have that folded down if you have it like in a drawer or something. There's a good number of Titan Master ports up here, up here, up here, up here, a couple over here, some down here. Those are perfect for plugging in the aerial bot pieces, as well as your Titan Master. And here is Blunderbuss. I like the head. I just love this head sculpt. I think mine was put on crooked, so I'm actually going to have to unscrew it, because I can definitely tell, looking at it, that it is a little crooked on my Titan Master, but that shouldn't be too difficult. Let me see if I can get the head sculpt on here. He's got a cute little face. Might be hard to see though, he even has little wings on his legs, just like his big robot mode. But yeah, you can peg him wherever you want, just on one of these little Titan Master ports, same as before. But that's not it for the figure. There is a bit more you can do. You can, on the bottom side here, flip up this little panel here, as well as flip out on the torso these, basically the things that kind of look a little bit like landing gear, which I guess they'll be landing gear for the jet mode, but you can flip out the landing gear, and of course you can see most of the jet top there, but you flip out these little runners and the fin here, and now it properly stands. It doesn't wibble wobble. I think that looks really cool, just to have this standing. This would be really cool to have like a tiny jet, or maybe like a mini-con sitting on top of this. This would be really, really neat. Just to illustrate my point, here he is with a Bot Shots figure on top. Obviously, this is way too big, but you get the idea. It'd be kind of cool if you had a nice little plane, take off from there, take off from the front. Also, here is Legends Class Shockwave. I reviewed him fairly recently. He unfortunately doesn't peg in because of his weird handle, but you can imagine sitting like that as a weapon. That'd be kind of cool. Or just sitting on the side to take off, some kind of small little, either Legends class, Legion class, or, bot shot size kind of figure could work out. I don't know why I picked 2 shockwaves, but it'll work. You can attach the Titan Master gun, I guess you could call it, either to the back. It looks like it's supposed to go in the front. That looks ridiculous. You can plug it in on the side as well, basically where the arms are. Plug it in on the side like that, or like that, to be kind of like a pontoon cannon. I know what you're thinking. That also looks dumb, though at least our little buddy can sit in the side. I don't know. I don't know. Weapon storage is not Broadside's forte. I would suggest for weapon storage, maybe try storing it on the side like that, because that makes it a little more flush. And then, I don't know, maybe just have Blunderbuss standing on a port, a little port nearby. I think that's probably the best you're going to get out of it. Again, storage is not the best, though I guess you could always store him in the vehicle mode cockpit if you're comfortable with having him like that. And presenting the weirdest jet mode ever conceived by Transformers. Here we have Broadside in his jet mode. I guess if you squint, it kind of resembles one of the jets. It is a very bizarre jet mode. You're not going to buy this particular figure for the jet mode. These big thruster sections on top might be understandable if the fins pointed that direction. Instead, they point that direction. So I guess if he's flying, he can stop midair and then back up, because that is not how aerodynamic fins work. Honestly, I want to pop all 4 of these out and flip them around, because that's the only way these fins will work on these jets. Not only that, but the wings are at the very bottom here. These are very weird wings. They don't even fold all the way forward. As you can see, I have them folded forward, and they're at the very back of the jet. They look weird because they're at the bottom of the jet and pretty much near the back. So that's very unrealistic. I mean, this is supposed to be a futuristic jet, but this would not be very aerodynamic. The wings need to be up more, and these giant honking masses of air resistancy to be pointed back more. Personally, I am a fan of just having them back like this. The arms don't fold up flush, but at least in this mode it's a little more aerodynamic, albeit regardless of what mode you had, it doesn't fold very beautifully. But I guess it doesn't look as, I don't know, garish. It's a very weird vehicle mode. Definitely this is the weak point of the figure. No landing gear whatsoever on the jet mode's bottom, so it just sits on the ground like you do, because all the landing gear is on the boat side. He does have the opening cockpit. Let's see if I can get the cockpit open. There we go. It's it opens forward, which is kind of cool. Like I mentioned before, here we have some storage for little Blunderbuss. He rattles around a little bit, but not that big of a deal. He's not going to fall out. You are in no, you do not have to worry about losing him as long as he's in that cockpit. Then for attachment, you can attach your cannon to that place I showed before, kind of on the crotch area. So there you have a cannon up on top, and again, you can put a Titan Master there. You could also potentially, because of the way it's designed, you could potentially attach it to one of the sides, or you could attach it to the aft. I believe that's the aft, the back of the ship, to have as either a butt cannon or a stomach-facing cannon, which I kind of like the look of. Or, because of the way the screw hole works, you could always attach it to the nose of the jet and give him a extremely pointy nose with a cannon. This makes no sense. Do not do this. It looks super silly. I guess if you're looking for display options, probably putting it either on top where it's intended to go, or on this port probably will look the best, and that will, because it'll be sitting on top of the cannon, will give it a little bit of leverage to bump it up so that the wings are not resting on the ground. A couple cute little notes that I forgot to mention before was that if you have the plane mode flipped up, he technically has a nose cone for a head, so that looks kind of silly. At least with the Titan Master in the cockpit. But, you know, if you fold up the Titan Master and put him back in the cockpit, like so, it will close. So you can have, if you really want, the Titan Master head riding in the cockpit. I think this looks kind of cute, because he's got the big nose cone, which looks really silly, but it's like his head is in a little spacesuit helmet. I kind of like it. It looks cute. If you don't want to do that, though, you know, just, you know, take the head out. You have to, like, break it. You have to, like, break it back, because it like, locks, it, like, double locks in. It's a weird system. Of course, I already have the pylons popping out, because I'm used to holding Transformers by their torso, so I'm basically constantly pressing this button. Another note that I find amusing is that, you know, obviously you can see he has the Autobot symbol right there on his torso, but something else that's worth noting is, as flipping up the panel here reveals, he has an Autobot symbol on his butt. I don't know why that's funny. It's just, you know, when you think, where's the Autobot symbol, you don't think to check the butt. But he's got one there, so if you're kicking his butt, you're literally kicking him in the Autobot symbol. I find that to be somewhat amusing. Also, it is worth noting, I don't know why this is, but he does have 2 5mm ports on his shoulders. In both vehicle modes, those ports are covered by basically these 2 larger sections. So these are weapon storage for basically exclusively the robot mode, especially since having his tower doesn't even get in the way because of the way it flips. You can have, if you want, weapons mounted on his shoulders. You know, if you have 2 of these Titan Master guns, you could potentially have 2 of them on his, you know, shoulders for a, like, wing blade or wing rocket mode. Imagine just another one over here. That's kind of cool, because you don't really see a lot of weapon storage on the shoulders. That's kind of neat. Anyway, thank you all for watching. I have been Metagross Freak, and until next time, I really hope you enjoyed this video. I know Broadside is not one of the better known Transformers characters. He's kind of obscure, unless you're a big fan like me. But I'm glad I was able to bring this figure to you in this video. Oh, I forgot that other note. If you look at the molding on his hands, there is his hand, there's the panel, and it has a little bit extra that hooks out. So he technically has like brass knuckles or like mini Wolverine claws on his hands. That's kind of adorable. I don't know why he would need those, considering he's supposed to be like, you know, the size of, like, he's supposed to be like 4 or 5 stories tall, so I don't know why he would need brass knuckles. But yeah, it's an option. It's an option. But anyway, sorry, I interrupted myself. I'm glad I was able to bring this video to you because you know, Broadside's one of those characters that unless you're a big fan of Transformers, probably you've never heard of. In fact, I had not heard of him until I saw this figure, decided to look up the figure, and I went, I think this is a cool character. I want to get the figure. So anyway, until next time, I'm Metagross Freak. Have a great one. Bye.